We would like to acknowledge that this podcast was recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri and Boon Wurrung people of the Kulin Nation. We value their cultures, identities, and continuing connection to country, waters, kin, and community. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. Oh, James.
Yeah.
James, listen, mate. Listen. This is important. Wish You Well by Bernard Fanning won the Hottest 100. Camilla Parker Bowles and Prince Charles wed. Algeria had its coldest day ever at minus 13.8 degrees Celsius. Guitar Hero first hit the shelves. Angela Merkel became the first female chancellor of Germany. And to start a new relationship with Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt broke it off with Friends star Jennifer Aniston. The year was 2005. I'm Rich.
I'm James.
And we watched The Constant Gardener and what's the other one called?
Oh, who cares?
Who cares? The Sound of Thunder.
The Sound of Thunder.
A Sound of Thunder. And that's popcorn.
Their behavior's not good.
I'll stop you now, right there, because...
The Swapties.
One lamb kebab.
I've abandoned my child!
Now, give me money.
Tell me who sent you.
Listen, mate, this is important.
Now it's been
Survivors.
I thought you were real.
That's popcorn.
That's popcorn. Hello!
Yay!
Hello! Welcome to That's Popcorn. James, what is That's Popcorn?
That's Popcorn is a podcast that you're listening to where we watch a good movie and a bad movie from a certain year and we talk about them and make good old jokes. The best jokes.
The best jokes.
The best jokes.
It's undisputed, indisputed. There's no dispute.
I was on a Wikipedia page the other day for the best jokes and I was surprised at how many times our names came up.
Yeah, it's insane, and it's legit because there's no one going on there and being like, oh, this is not a real joke or not a real thing. It's a fact. Even it's etched in stone. It's the only Wikipedia article etched in stone.
Yeah, that's it.
Prove me wrong.
That yes, that's how Wikipedia works.
That's how it works.
No, I was trying to think of a pun. Couldn't.
Rockypedia.
That's as good as I would have got.
Wikipedia.
Yep, that's going on to the wiki for the next best jokes.
It's already there. I'm typing it now. I mean, someone's typing it now.
Good. It's good. Good gags.
James, you're so right. You're so right about everything that you've said until this point and into the future. This is that whatever you said it was, and welcome to it. The movies we're doing today are The Constant Gardener and A Sound of Thunder.
A Sound of Thunder.
From the year 2005.
Yep. Yes, we did. And what two movies these were.
They certainly were two films.
Two films. One I'm not sure of, actually. I don't know if it was a film.
No?
No. I think they tried to make a film, and I don't know what they ended up with.
Whatever it was, it wasn't good. But before we get to that, please tell me about The Constant Gardener.
I will, Richard. I'm glad you asked because I watched it. And The Constant Gardener is a movie about a guy named Justin, who lives in Kenya, and he has a wife named Tessa, and she gets murdered, and then Justin goes trying to discover what happened to Tessa and unlocks all the dangers of big pharma, as in pharmaceutical, not a big pharma.
Not Ronald McDonald. Not Ronald McDonald. What's his name? Old McDonald's. Also, not Ronald McDonald, not Big Macca.
Yes, that's it. So it's, as I said, set in Kenya. Yeah, it's based on a Jean Le Carre novel.
Is it? I kept thinking it was Elmore Leonard. Why did I keep thinking it was Elmore Leonard?
Because I talked about Elmore Leonard a whole bunch last week. But yeah, definitely not. If it was an Elmore Leonard novel, it would probably have a lot more like weird pop culture references for zero reason. Even though Elmore Leonard's, well, he died, but he would be 90 years old. It still talks about Aerosmith in like every one of his books. It's weird.
even his like posthumous books talk about
Yep.
TikTok. Yeah, what did you think? What did you think of The Constant Gardener?
I thought it was really, really good. I thought it's one of those films that sort of straddles the line between total fiction and, okay, this is kind of almost like a documentary, because I have no doubt that what happens in the film is pretty close to reality in terms of some of the dodgy dealings of diplomats and big pharmaceutical companies and how they act in Africa, which is a bit terrifying. It's one of those films where I watched it at the end and I'm just like, we're going to do something about this.
Yeah. There's definitely that feeling, and I think it's helped by Rachel Weisz. Rachel from Friends' character. No, Rachel's character, where she's this, and she's really good at playing these roles of like uber activist or not self-aware, just like uber, I don't know, world-aware, neurotic pixie dream girl type characters. Like she's a similar character in Brothers Bloom and even in The Mummy. Like,
yeah, a bit, yeah.
But yeah, she's great in this.
She won an Oscar for being so great in it.
Was that a supporting role? She's not really the lead. Yeah.
Supporting. Old mate Ray Fiennes, who plays Justin, didn't even get a nomination.
Oh, well, sod him then. But yeah, I think it's a brilliant film. The pace of it is kind of not relentless, but just constant, and without feeling kind of like tiring.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't slow down, and I think that's probably to do with like John Le Carre, which, can I just tell you, I found out that's not his actual name, and he's not like a cool French guy. He's like an old British man, and his actual name is David. So that was disappointing. But all his sort of books and the ones that have been turned into films have that sort of similar pace about them. Like they don't have a lot of sort of dead zone. That's not the word. Dead scenes. There we go. Made it up.
Dead scenes.
I'm a film critic.
Yep. Dead scenes. Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't have like a relentless pace like, you know, Bourne films or whatever, where it's just, you know, go, bash, shoot. There are a few fight scenes, but they play like the lead character would in real life, in the sense that he loses them badly every time. But the cameraman has paced it like a Bourne film. I've got to say, would it hurt them to maybe purchase maybe one tripod for this film?
Yeah, there is a bit wobble. I did also read that, and it's in the credits, Ray Fiennes, for shots that are from his point of view, he filmed them himself. So he's actually listed as cameraman. I thought
I saw when I was watching the credits at the end, I was kind of just like half watching them, but I was like, man, his name came up late, but I never checked why. I just thought, oh, maybe he's, you know, being humble and just being listed right at the bottom of the cast list. But no, he's cameraman number 3.
Yep. I thought it looked fantastic, like the scenes of Kenya. I think originally they wanted to film it in South Africa because that's where the African film industry is. But then they really fought and they said, look, it's set in Kenya. It is an absolute disservice to the country if we don't actually film it in Kenya. So they fought for that and they won, and power to them, because it's an amazing looking film. The landscape's incredible.
Yeah, and there was something about like they built like water tanks or something there. whilst working there, or
Yeah, well, after it, like they fell in love with sort of all the people in the area that they were filming, and so they made like a foundation to build schools and stuff, which is awesome. It's like cinema doing good things for the world.
yeah. Here it says the filmmakers installed water tanks, a new bridge, and a classroom in Kibera. The slum in which the film was shot. They also built a secondary school in the desert of northern Kenya where the final scenes were photographed. Filmed,
Excellent.
I think's the word, but you know.
No, they just photographed them
Just a photograph.
real quick though.
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah,
Like
25 photographs a second.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, as you say, it's a beautiful looking film. It's got this sort of like gritty. Gritty's probably not the right word because I feel like that has connotations of like it looks like Saw. No, it's just got this kind of like authentic kind of, I don't know, dustiness to it or something. There's like a feel.
And
to
then
it
when
that
you compare it to the scenes that are set in like Europe, where it's just sort of very sort of grey and green,
yeah,
a bit yucky.
Yeah, it does make non-Africa in this film look cold and boring. Do we only go to London? I feel like
no. I think there was a scene. No, because he was in like Germany at one point.
Yeah, that's right.
And I obviously don't know enough about the passport system in Europe, but he managed to get there without a passport.
Yeah,
but I think maybe that's how it works. I can't remember.
He went across border by trains and stuff. Yeah,
and there's only a short train montage, which was good because if it was like a Bourne film, it would be like a big thing. And
that train montage is cut like a Bourne film, though. There's a couple of shots there, which just like. I thought he was fighting the train.
might have been.
I do like that he gets a German and he's like, "Ich bin Justin," and I'm like, "No, you are not a name. Ich heiße Justin." Speak German properly.
Good pickup.
Yeah, that's a classic English to German mistake. Danny Houston's in this. He's obviously a villain because, of course, he is.
That's it. I feel like that was bad casting because as soon as he popped on screen, I'm like, he did it.
Yep. Yeah. I was saying, I'm like, he's involved.
Like, there's absolutely no question that he did it.
Yep. 100% he bad guy. He got face like bad guy, he be bad guy. Also, he got accent like bad guy. I don't know what accent he's going for. He's not hitting it.
Bill Nye as well, as soon as he popped up, like he also guilty.
Yeah. Bill Nye's a hard one though, because sometimes he meant to look guilty, but he no guilty. He nice boy. So
but then I was shocked, and I'll just say shocked again. Pete Postlethwaite, who I thought going to be bad guy, good guy.
Yeah, that Kobayashi from.
It was. That guy is perennially old. Like the first time I saw him in a movie, I couldn't even tell what it was. I'm like, that's like a 90-year-old dude.
He's perennially dead now, isn't he?
Oh, he's alive.
What?
I thought he died. Alive. No, you're thinking of Peter O'Toole, maybe. No, he died. You're right. He's dead.
Well, rip.
Rest in peace, Pete.
Sorry, Pete. I think that was like a year or two ago, wasn't it?
He died. 2011.
Oh, okay, a few years ago. But yeah, he's good in that too. He's only got a small role.
Again, good with the accent though.
Yeah, good with the accent. Danny Houston could take a few hints.
Yep.
From Pete. Danny Houston sounded like he was in a fantasy film where they've got some sort of like, international accent. And he kept trying to say old chap, like that would make it sound more English. And I'm like, no, you idiot.
That was an interesting thing. I'm like, do all diplomats in Africa speak in this like 1920s British way? It's like, oh, come on, sport.
Old chap. Let's go round.
Old chap, it's a sorry that your wife died.
By golly. So I looked up Danny Houston to try and figure out where he's from. And he's born in Italy. So I'm like, great, not a good start. And then it's like he went to school like London acting school or something. So I'm like, oh, so there is some English connection. But then Wikipedia says he's an American actor. And also, I didn't realize how many Houstons there were, like Angelica
Oh,
Houston
yeah.
and
The young Houston.
Is it John Houston? John.
No, that's the old one. Jim Houston.
The younger one that's from like Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah. I think his name is Baby Houston. Whitney. Whitney Houston. We have a problem, Houston.
Jack Houston.
Jack Houston. There you go. Well, John might be John Jack. Who knows?
Also, Danny Houston was married to Virginia Madsen. And there's a million Madsens as well. That's weird.
Is Virginia Madsen related to Michael Madsen?
Sister.
What?
It's crazy.
Wow. It's crazy, man. These people being relatives in the same industry.
I know. What?
Did I miss here? But when they were playing golf, actually, no, was it golf? Or
yeah, it was golf. Well, they played
different
golf.
scene. Yeah,
or did they play
one of the
cricket?
Scenes. And Rafe Fiennes comes up to the guy and he's like talking about how his wife Tessa can be, I think, quite. Was it quite dogged or something, or quite insistent or something like that? And the guy says, "Sounds like you're describing a bitch." Did he say that? Did I miss?
He did say that, and I think he was trying to be a bit of a jerk because they didn't. Nobody liked Tessa except for everybody who was in love with Tessa.
Oh yeah, love. Yeah, right. Okay, all right, Danny Houston. You got a heart on, and all of a sudden you're in love. All right, mate. Pack it in. Go home, learn an accent, come back, and then we'll see what happens. This has become an anti-Danny Houston podcast. Sorry, Danny. You're probably the nicest guy ever, but you've got an evil face and a shit accent. But yeah, I quite like the film. It's really sad. Spoiler alert!
Sad.
It's really sad.
Very sad. And I think it's really sad because, like, Ralph Fiennes' character Justin. I don't know why I keep saying like that, but it's good.
It's because you've been watching election coverage, and it just keeps going. This Justin.
That's exactly right. That's what's going on. Justin is like a likable sort of everyman. Like at no point does he seem like what he's doing I probably wouldn't do, except for everything. But if I was somehow in his situation, that's probably how I would act. And like even when he starts like dating Tessa, he's like, I'm out of my league here, definitely punching above my weight. And he's got, there's one thing that he said, I'm like, that is 100% a David Brent joke. Like he's just gone this really stupid joke because he's very uncomfortable in this relationship.
Yeah. And Natalie pointed out when we're watching it that he's just polite to everyone. Like he's sort of this, he's not quite pathetic, but he's like just this kind of really polite sort of not machismo type character, which is actually kind of weird for me to see Ralph Fiennes play, considering the other roles I've seen him play. And so like you do kind of gravitate towards, and you feel a little bit sorry for him that all this stuff's happening around him. And like when spoiler alert, when I'm just going to edit that into like every clip we do now. When he finds out that is it Arnold was gay.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, why didn't she tell me? And then she's like, well, she probably didn't think she needed to or something. And he's, being nervous about like her relationship with Arnold and everything, and really should have been nervous about Danny and stuff. Danny Houston, whatever his name was, don't care.
Sandy. Oh God,
right.
what a dick of a name that is.
What a terrible name. Sorry to all the Sandys that listen to our podcast. But yeah, and so like even like he's really polite to the pilot of the plane.
Oh yeah.
So there's this really powerful scene where like he's evoking Tessa's like spirit, I guess, or like what's the word, like ethics.
Yeah.
And he's literally repeating words that she said earlier in the film, and I think on paper that could look really cheesy, but it's played really well.
It's done well.
And then he's going off with the pilot about not being able to let this kid on the plane, And then the next scene, he's going up to the pilot and being like, I'm so sorry about how I behaved.
And like he was absolutely justified in what he was saying. Like,
Yeah.
he was trying to save someone's life effectively.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
The guy's like, I'm good, man.
And then there's the other scene with the Game of Thrones guy, whose name I don't know. He's from Castle Winterfell, and I think he's the guy that gives him the gun, and they're at the cliff face.
Yes.
There's a bit of a car chase, and it's a bit of a no stakes car chase because they're actually
That's right.
And he's literally like, Ray Fiennes' character literally knows he's going to be killed pretty much, and the other guy's like, I know that we'll both be dead by December. As he's smoking his cigarette, and he's like, because I've got cancer. And then even in this situation where like he's being chased and probably going to be murdered,
he
he's
literally
like, oh, I'm
had
so
a
sorry,
heat
I had
on
no
his
idea.
head.
I'm like, that.
Yeah.
Oh, I just swore.
Oh, we're doing a sweary podcast now.
Ooh.
Wow. It's taken 13 episodes, but
That's
now
right.
we can say the
That's
F.
no, this isn't. I'm gonna bleep it.
F. Bleep me saying F.
Yeah, every time. No F's.
F.
But yeah, brilliant film. Terrible accent.
Also, if you go into this wanting gardening tips, there's only a few.
Yeah, there's not none.
Yeah, like if you're going into it thinking it's just constant gardening, which I would have assumed based on the name, you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah,
But,
Gardening Australia probably more up your
Probably,
alley.
yeah, that's probably more that you want.
Yeah.
But then I liked that constant gardener is like a metaphor because he's digging around.
But it's also not a metaphor because he is
he
always
also
gardening.
is gardening, yeah.
Even at the start, I think in the very first scene, right? Or near the start when
he's
Danny
watering
Houston-
plants. And then Danny Houston says, perhaps you better stop doing that. He's like, nah, I'm a constant gardener.
Yeah. No, he says, perhaps you better stop doing that. And then you pause and then you replay it because you're like, did he say that? I'm not sure. Stupid accent. All right.
Yeah.
I'm over it. I've got, I think it's a Bill Nye that says, I've known one or two very savage queens in my time.
Yep.
That is such a Bill Nye line that I feel like it wasn't even in the script.
He says that in every single film that he's in.
It's his go-to.
It's part of his contract. I did like that. So the director is Fernando Meirelles. I pronounced that incorrectly. Who did City of God?
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
That's a very good film. Whatever that movie. Oh, that might have come up previously. We didn't watch it. But in any case, it's a great movie set in sort of the slums of Rio. And then he did this. And then he also did the opening ceremony of the Rio Olympic Games for those playing Fernando trivia at home. But the original guy who was meant to direct this got a phone call from Harry Potter saying, hey, can you please direct my new Harry Potter film? And so he left this project to go to that. But old mate Ray Fiennes was like, I reckon I can still do both. And he did. So points to Ray Fiennes.
He probably went, can I please, oh, I'm so sorry. Can I please do both of them, please? I'd love to do both of them. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Sorry. Thank you. Please. That's it. That's my rave.
That's it.
That's
really
my rave
good.
in this film. Fun fact: Lupita Nyong'o worked as a production runner during their filming in Kenya, and then years later, 8 years later, she would win an Academy Award herself.
That's pretty cool.
So the fun fact is that there are two actresses who have both won Best Supporting Actress awards that worked on this film.
Yeah, that's a good story. I like that trivia. That's a very good piece of trivia. Roger Ebert, our friend Roger Ebert, who hates North, loved this movie. And he said it is near perfection.
Did he follow it by saying, except for Danny Houston's accent?
I hate Danny Houston. But then this guy, Michael Atkinson, who I don't know from a bar of soap, is that even a saying?
I think so. It sounds right.
It sounds right. I don't know him from a bar of soap. Said it was a cannonballing melange of hack cuts, impressionistic close-ups, and tropical swelter, which is load of baloney.
Yeah, that's a bit harsh. I mean, he's not wrong about the close-ups though. There's one that I almost thought I was going to fly into, where he finds eyeball. I thought it was going to be another scene from like Uncut Gems.
Yeah, it was very close. I think my only gripe I have with this film is the very last scene where it sort of double explains exactly what happened, and I didn't think it need to happen because I'm like, yeah, I've already worked it out from the prior scene.
Yeah, well, they cut to a funeral scene, and you're like, oh, is he dead? And then even in the funeral scene, they're like, his body had X amount of bullet holes in it.
I don't know what kind of
he dead.
Suicide has bullets from 3 different guns, and you're like, okay, I know what happened here. They could have finished it there, not cut back to the flashback of.
But I guess like if they finished it there, it would have been so dark.
That's true.
And I guess they were like, oh, we need to give him a bit of hope, and they kind of replayed that like, I'm going home.
Yeah. Okay. I'll allow it.
It was nice. It was nice.
It was nice.
It was nice to get shot and murdered.
If you're going to do it, do it on a lake in Kenya.
You know, it's a new TripAdvisor. You want to get murdered? Do it on this lake in Kenya. Yeah, Katrina Roundtree is going to do that next. Yeah, so that's Constant Gardener. Do you have anything more you'd like to say about Constant Gardener, James?
I think that's all. I thought it was a good movie. Everyone should give it a watch. And as I said, I've got the book on my bookshelf. I might give it a read.
Yeah, and also it's 2 hours long, and the next film we're going to talk about is an hour 40 long. But I dare say this one felt an hour 40 long, and the one we're going to talk about felt about 7 days long.
Yes, well put.
You're at the candy bar.
Ooh, my favorite part.
The Kenya candy bar. What are you going to have?
I think the only mention of food in this entire movie is goat stew, which I'd get around, some goat stew.
Which stew?
Yep, that's good. That's
good. That's going on the wiki.
Yeah, I'd probably go get some goat stew from the candy bar, and maybe some TB.
Some tuberculosis.
TB test drugs.
Some
in the process. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. What would you choose?
It'd all be plant-based.
Good.
And I'd probably get just a bunch of seeds. just a whole bunch of seeds.
Snack on some seeds.
I'm realizing the more we do this podcast, the less these become metaphors for how we think about the film.
We just talk about food that was in the film and then we choose it.
And I'm definitely going to get some popcorn.
Yes. I give it 5 popcorns.
That's it. 5 popcorns. We're not going to tell you what it's out of. Sorry. All right. That's the Constant Gardener. But we watched another film for which we will watch the trailer now. And I don't know when I'm going to edit in the first trailer bit because I didn't preface that. But it'll happen, or it might not happen because
do it like a flashback because there's flashbacks in this movie, so it's fitting. So we can
God, yes! Right
now, flashback to the Constant Gardener trailer.
Yes, the flashback is happening now.
Take me to Africa with you.
Tessa.
Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
How are you?
We can't involve ourselves in their lives, Tess. There are millions of people. They all need help.
You know me well enough to know that I'm not going to take no for an answer. Will you believe me if I tell you that that poor girl over there is being murdered?
We know about your wife, Mr. Quill.
Don't quite follow.
For a diplomat, you're not a very good liar.
Well, I haven't risen very high.
Stop looking at me like that. I'm going to have a baby in a week.
You're beautiful.
I love you.
I'm getting reports of a white woman found early this morning, dead.
You think it might be Tessa?
The police were here. They took away the files, papers, computers.
Tess thought she was being watched.
I failed her. I have to finish what she started.
You'll never find them. They will find you.
They want you silenced.
They killed my wife.
Be a good chap and leave this to us.
Don't try and play detective.
Go home and live.
But I don't have a home. Tessa was my home.
There's a TB epidemic coming. It will affect the entire world. Billions and billions of dollars are waiting to be earned.
Big pharmaceuticals, they're right up there with the arms dealers.
Payoffs, cover-ups, unmarked graves.
Are you crazy?
These people, they kill anybody.
The poor man seems to have convinced himself there was a conspiracy in which we are all complicit.
There's a contract out on them. You'll never know who ordered the hit. But that's the way it works with corporate murder.
Some very nasty things live under rocks, especially in foreign gardens.
And also, we're probably going to get demonetized, even though we don't get monetized on YouTube. But I keep getting flagged all the videos, and I have to go in. And most of them, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, just cut it out. I don't care. But one of them, the numbers that they put in cut out part of the show, and so I went back to them. And I'm like, this is fair use. Sod you. And so I'm probably going to get sued. Anyway, welcome back. Welcome back to That's Popcorn. That was the flashback trailer. Here's another trailer. Here we go. Ha ha. And welcome back. That's the second trailer. Flawless,
Good.
guys. That was a trailer for A Sound of Thunder. James, A Sound of Thunder. Do you want me to
What's
tell
it
you
about?
what this film is about?
Explain it to me, please.
So it's set in 2055. Does that sound right? 2055.
It's a year.
Despite looking like it was shot in 1980. And it's set in the future. The world is falling apart, sort of. Well, I think there's like some sort of climate changey type effect. Plants aren't.
There's no more animals.
There's no more animals. That's right.
No more animals.
They can't even clone them. I remember him saying.
They can't even CGI them.
No, oh boy. And so, what's his name? I almost said Bill Nye. Ben Kingsley is like a Richard Attenborough type person, except not quite. And he owns this time travel-y type thing called Time Safari, and they take rich people and they go back in time to shoot this one dinosaur and right before it dies naturally, and then they come back and that's like their thrill. So it's like a shit Westworld, essentially. It's like the worst Westworld.
Yeah, worst world. There.
Westworld. Yes.
Westworld.
Oh my god, that's the headline for the review of this. And then naturally something goes wrong in one of their trips, and the world has changed in the future. And boy, has the world changed. And does it make sense? No. So it's a time travel-y movie. He comes back. All of a sudden, something. I think. I don't know if I have the order right, but also I don't really care. They go back in time with one of the groups. Something goes wrong. They come back. His plant's living now? Is that what happens? Or did they go back again and like the timing's off?
Yes, they go back again and the dinosaur's in a different spot or something.
Dinosaur's already dead.
That's right, yeah. And the volcano's erupting.
Yeah, and so they run back and they're like, and then that doesn't make any sense. Because like if they went back in time, it would be to the right point It would be before anyway.
They try to explain the time travel in this and like ripples in a pond, and the metaphor just doesn't work. It explains why none of the time travel in the movie makes any sense.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like, if you change time in the background, it changes the future, but it's like ripples. So, and it's literal ripples. Like,
it's literal ripples.
You can see the time coming at you.
Yeah.
It's like, here comes the time change. I better run.
The time wave. The time
wave.
Yeah. So there's like, there's this woman's apartment. Sonia Rand, I think is the character's name. Played by
good remembering,
an actress whose name I can't remember, but she was in 28 Weeks Later. She's the one. Have you seen 28 Weeks Later?
Not since it came out.
Yeah, and she's the one that's left in the house, the wife.
Okay.
Who then doesn't turn into a zombie, I think, or maybe she does, but she gets captured and then turns everyone else into zombies.
Okay.
Anyway, depressing film. So she's in it. She's Sonia Rand. And our main character, whose name I can't remember, Mike?
Travis.
Travis.
It says Travis on the website, but that's the first time I've heard it. So I thought it was Mike or Jack.
Travis.
Yeah. Or do they call him by his surname's Raya? Do they call him Raya? I don't know. This
Travis Raya. I swear they call him Mike, right?
I think, yeah. This is weird. Has there been a time ripple, a time wave?
There was a Mike in another thing we watched recently.
Yeah, there was a Mike in the other terrible movie, fear.com.com.
Yeah.
That was Mike.
Am I just thinking of him?
They're similar characters.
They're the same. They're just both as useless as each other.
Yeah.
So Edward Burns plays this character called Travis. Maybe they do call him Raya.
I think played is nice because like usually when you make a film you get actors. This time it's got Edward Burns. So
he's like a glorified mannequin.
He's just terrible.
But yeah, the time wave.
Continue.
So he's at her apartment. She's warding everyone off. Oh, that's right. The plants are coming everywhere. They're coming out of the ground. Everything's gone plants.
Yes.
And I don't mean like they're all got vegan menus. I mean like plants are taking over the world.
They need some constant gardening, if you know what I mean.
Yes. We didn't even realize how closely linked these films were when we picked them. So yeah, plants coming out of the world. Goes to this woman's apartment. She's got this like beautiful apartment with like kind of atrium type greenhouse thing going on. And then she's like, "You've changed more than you realize," or something. And they open the window and there's this tsunami coming. And when I saw that, I'm like, how's this going to be solved? Are they just going to drown? Is that the end? What happens? Or is he going to wake up? And it's like, no, it's worse than that. It's a time wave that blows him over the edge and does some weird like Matrix thing, but it's done so poorly because like they can't afford it, I think. They can't afford something because it looks like an 80s video game when they're going around him like that. And yeah, so it's some sort of time wave thing that isn't good, but we don't really know why it's not good. And it changes things, but it changes things in order that they've been evolved. And as soon as they said that, I'm like, that's not how evolution works.
That's right.
Because they refer to humans as the last evolved thing. What is that?
Yeah. And yeah, so the time wave apparently only affects evolution because like buildings still exist, but they're just eaten by plants. Yeah. So it's not like the Simpsons episode, which is based on the same short story as this film.
Oh, really?
Where he changes the past and then goes into the future and everything's different because, you know, the butterfly effect and, you know, something doesn't get invented because of this. But this film...
So this is based on... That's the theory of that. So this weird like thing. So because he goes back in time and then he comes back and it only affects immediately him coming back, which doesn't make any sense.
It is, A Sound of Thunder is the short story by Ray Bradbury that this is based on. Butterfly Effect is based on.
Okay.
Crime and Punishment, Halloween, Simpsons episode.
Yeah.
Time and Punishment, it's called.
Time and time again.
But this one absolutely butchers it, even though this is the one that actually has the name.
Yeah.
And in the book, A Sound of Thunder, it's only a short story, but the explanation of why it's called A Sound of Thunder is like in the book. And in this movie, it's not, because this movie totally changes what the whole aim and idea of the story is about. It's butchered it so badly. This is going to be like the worst adaptation that's ever existed.
Yeah. If anyone's seen Birdemic, that's the level of like graphics. Actually, it's probably not that bad, but
if anyone's played one of those, like, what's that Virtua Cop? Like that old Sega game?
Yeah,
like
Time Crisis, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it is Time Crisis graphics.
Yeah, it's awful. James, this came out after Kill Bill.
This movie came out like 4 years before Avatar.
Yeah. What?
Like,
it's trash. And there is an explanation. They ran out of money. So firstly, this film was meant to come out in, I think, 2002, 2003. But they ran out of money during post-production, and boy, does it show.
Boy, can you tell. At some point, you just need to cut your losses and just go, no.
Yeah, well, the production company went bankrupt. There's like a scene where, let's call him Mike. Mike is walking with the other woman. Let's call her Janelle.
I think it's Jenny.
Jenny? Is it?
Yeah, I think it might be.
Who knows? Because I don't trust any of this IMDb page. I'm going to have to check. I'm just going to edit in a quick shot of a character saying his name right now.
You're Travis Rye, aren't you?
See if I remember to do that. So he's walking with Jenny, and everything is CGI behind them.
Oh, God.
And so it's like they're just walking on the spot.
Yeah, they're obviously on like a treadmill, and
it looks so bad. Also, what's their relationship? Because they have these weird like public shower things, which is like just have a shower in a room. Like you can afford a time machine, you can afford a shower.
I'm sure in 2055, they haven't devolved showers or bathrooms.
But it does that thing of like the cubicles where the bottom and the top are too like long or short, whatever, to like hide or whatever. It's terrible. So he's walking past and he's like, "Oh, sorry." And then she says, "Oh, you've seen me skinny dipping before." And he's like, "Yeah, when you were 8." And then their relationship is never explained.
It's never explained. Oh man.
I'm like, are they exes? Are they
brother and sister?
Yeah, well, then I looked up their names and they don't have the same name. But then also, what the hell is their name?
What is their names? Like, yeah.
And like, and then I'm like, even if they were exes, surely he's seen her naked more recently than 8. I hope.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's wrong. But strangely, still not the wrongest thing in this film.
No. And so so the time waves happen. There's plants everywhere, and then more time waves happen, and then there's like monkey lizards,
which is apparently what
would happen.
What would happen?
They could afford 3 CGI models. No, sorry, 4 CGI models in this film. Number 1 is dinosaur. Number 2 is lizard monkey. Number 3 is bat.
Yeah.
And number 4 is the snake underwater
sea serpent
dragon thing.
Yeah.
I think that's what. Or maybe butterfly. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's easy. It's just,
that being said,
it's 2D.
It's just 2 bits.
Yep.
The lizard monkey thing. So it's like this big sort of baboon gorilla with lizard body, and it has. Do they have like acid?
I do have to admit, like when the lizard monkeys I forgot that I was watching it for this podcast, and I totally sort of just stopped paying attention for a little bit. And then I'm like, oh, I'm meant to be watching this movie.
Yeah, I felt like that.
Because the middle of it is just like the most bad action movie where they're just running and getting chased by things, and you don't care enough about anyone.
Nothing feels real. They're just shooting stuff, and then they shoot it in the throat. It's its only soft spot. I'm like, it's a very delicate way of putting it.
And like, I don't even know why they were going half. Like, they're like, oh, we have to get to this point, and it's never explained why they have to go there, but they just do. And so you're like, all right, whatever. And then they're like, oh, we'll go through the sewers and the subway, and then the subway's underwater, so there's sea creatures. It's just so, I just so didn't care.
Yeah, and it goes a little bit horror film in the sense of like, not in like any sort of scariness, but in the sense of like, you know that people are going to die one by one.
Yes.
From now on. And it's just a waste. It's a waste of everything. So like David Oyelowo, that's not how you say his name, but you might know him from Spooks or from Selma, or from other things. Probably more from Selma, as Martin Luther King. He's in this. What a waste. He gets killed by the vines poisoning him.
Spooky plants.
Yeah, and then he has like a standoff with all the lizard monkeys, and it's you can tell he's putting a lot of effort into his role, but it's not being reciprocated by the film around him. So they're trying to find. I think the reason they're out there with their giant, big, like time crisis looking guns, is they're trying to find one of the two rich dudes that went through the last trip.
That's right. And everyone in the world is crazy because the spiky plants have like a poison in them that makes them crazy.
Oh, was that the case?
I think that was the case. Crazy. No, I think that because like it was literally, and that's what I didn't understand about the time waves. So the time wave, I'm not even going to start going into it.
No.
But like, I was like, a time wave, if everything else had evolved, then wouldn't everyone who was affected by it already be aware of it, and we would have evolved with them? I mean,
why did it only just happen when they'd come back to the future?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. But then like their reasoning is they brought something back from the past or something.
Yes.
And which we find out, spoiler alert, later, is the butterfly on the shoe or some crap like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Also,
because
society's managed to already set up these barricades and stuff. And there's like cops going in there. He's like, "You're either going to have to let us in or kill us." And he's just like, I don't think he says anything. He just opens the door. Like, okay, cool. There's that tension gone. But yeah, and then they find one of the guys, and he's like, "You can't throw out that tricycle or something," whatever he's holding, stool. And then he blames the other guy, who's played by Corey Johnson, who you may know from, I don't know, other films playing this exact role all the time. He's always like the asshole douchebag guy.
Yeah.
He has a great line where Mike says, "Drop the gun, I don't want to shoot you." And he says, "Why not? I want to shoot you." And then shoots himself. I don't know what's going on there. I did write, it feels like an old point and click adventure from the 90s.
Yeah, actually that sounds good. It does. It's got a real video game vibe.
Yeah.
Actually, if this was a video game where the whole start of it was kind of just like, okay, this is why the physics engine is, and this is why there's a time limit, and this is why the baddies are what they are, and if you don't get to this stage by this point, the baddies will be worse because the time wave comes. That would be a cool game with a cool mechanic that I might get behind and might explain the decisions that have been made.
Yeah, it's definitely video game logic and video game like looking, because it's like every monkey boy is the same model.
Yeah.
So, in a video game that makes sense because they can only make one or a couple variations, but like in a film, it just doesn't work.
They did actually make a video game of this movie for the Game Boy Advance, It was an overhead shooter game with driving stages, which is not what happens in this movie.
There's a driving scene.
Is there a driving scene? That
There's a
must have
couple,
been...
actually.
What? I don't remember
There's
driving.
one where they're in
Oh,
like
it
the
falls in
yellow
the
taxi,
hole.
and it has like the worst slow motion crash ever, and no one dies. Some plant thing happens.
That's right. Yeah, the plant thing eats away the road, and then the two cabs fall in the hole, and then everybody who's on the street goes to the cabs and are like, "Ooh, what's going on in the cab?" There's a giant hole in the ground which wasn't there before. I'd be looking in the hole.
Yeah, it's so bad. And then there's another car scene where they get the it's more like a 4-wheel drive type car from the
yes, I do remember that.
And then old mate gets taken out of the truck by one of the Bat Boys.
By the Bats. That's right. I forgot
also,
about
then they
that.
go back to their Time Safari place because they've got something now. Oh, they got the butterfly? I think maybe that's
okay.
So they go back to the Time Safari place, and their plan is to warn them about something.
Back in time that little bit further.
Yeah, but they can only go back for a certain amount of time, like a nanosecond or something.
Yeah, it's like 5 seconds, so he has to go back in time and just be like, "Oh, jump!" And then he disappears.
Yeah.
And then his sister, ex-girlfriend, cousin goes, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, okay. And it's all resolved.
Yeah, I spoke to you. No, you from I don't know, from the future.
But
you too.
There was my ultimate favorite scene out of every film that we've watched this whole time. And it's when, because the time is very short, there's another time wave coming, which is going to be the final time wave, which evolves the humans.
Yeah.
And so she sends Travis back in time, just in time, and then the wave comes. And what happens, Richard? What's the next scene after the time wave comes?
And it's also not clear enough that this is the case, but there's a shot of like a fish alien just standing where she was standing, inferring that she is turned into a fish alien.
And it looks directly at the camera like, what happened?
It looks like the Crazy Frog. Like, it's the dumbest looking thing.
It is like, as much as don't watch this movie, watch it just for that, because it is the most absurd
I might have to put it up on the screen. It's the dumbest thing.
And it literally is the worst effects I've ever seen. It's like someone's first year animation project.
Yeah.
And you're meant to think it's like, oh, this is the worst. She's devolved into a fish monster.
This is 2005. This is unacceptable. It's got Ben Kingsley in it. He's an Oscar Award winner.
He is a knight of the realm.
Oh God. It's the funniest thing.
Oh God, it's so funny.
So when he goes back, right, I've got it written down here. So she tells him about the thing or whatever. She's like, watch this. It's you or something. And she's like, no, another you, and then kisses him. Still don't know what his relationship is.
Right.
Towards the end of the film, he goes, I can't remember how the film legit ends, but he goes to Sonia Rand's apartment, and she's like, just put it near the gerbils or something?
The rhododendrons.
Rhododendrons.
Yeah.
And he goes, the white ones. But I'm like, he wasn't there.
That's right.
The thing he watched, was that everything?
Did you just watch the movie?
Yeah, and then also too long to do. Like that's you watched it all to the point of knowing what color rhododendrons are.
The other important part is when they first realize that something's gone wrong and they're watching the footage of the time safari to
Which
try
is a
to
pretty
work
cool
out what's
effect.
going on. It is a cool effect. It's probably the only decent looking effect in this film.
Yeah.
But the whole reason they're watching it is to work out what they changed in the past that explains why all this is happening. But they're watching it and they literally fast forward through some of it. Like the one is like, no, this isn't it, and just
it's boring.
boring. This is just us walking through like mud and stuff. Who cares? Like that's where your answer is. Like they fast forwarded. I'm just like, this makes zero sense.
It's dumb. It's so dumb. Yeah. And then when they go back to the place, I'm jumping around the film, but also the film jumps around, so stuff them. And they find like the guy who. Also, what happened to Ben Kingsley's character?
He did.
Actually. Did we see him die?
Yeah, I think you saw just like a bright white hair under some leaves. Yeah,
you just saw like an Oscar.
He did.
They go back and there's like the government dude hiding in a cupboard or something.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
And then he's like, shh, they'll hear you, whatever. And then he shouts and gets them all up anyway in a few seconds. But then it pans up and it's the monkeys.
Yeah,
like,
monkeys.
You just introduced bats to us. Why are the monkeys upside down sleeping in a cave? Like, I know they're like, oh, they're all evolved funny. They got to become fish alien people. Like, why would you show us bats? Like the scene before and not use bats? Very, very upsetted. Very upset. Very upset.
Very, yeah. What a travesty of a film. The budget was $80 million. It made $11 million.
And this film made $11 million.
This made $11 million. Only $2 million in the US and $9.7 million elsewhere.
They're going to say like one specific spot in Luxembourg.
Well, it was filmed in the Czech Republic.
Oh,
so
yeah. I mean,
maybe it was just like, Mom, I worked on this film. Can you just watch it? Like, it's a piece of crap. It was for an assignment.
Yeah. It was for an assignment.
It was a group project.
Oh
this actually has group assignment written all over it. And the person in charge of CGI and sound effects as well, because I don't know if you noticed, but the part when they're back in time walking on like the little mirage-y, like traveling floating platform, when they step on it, it goes tink, even though it's liquid.
No, it's like Terminator liquid, right? It's metal.
Liquid metal.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes as much sense as anything in this film.
Yeah, what a trash film. I'm at the candy bar.
Yep. What do you have?
And I'm gonna have can't remember any food in this.
Look, there's a bag of fertilizer.
Yeah.
Which I think is fitting.
Yeah, and this isn't chocolate soil I'm eating. This is just straight up soil. Soil littered with rhododendrons and then maybe a little bit of fish alien sauce.
Yeah. I'm at the candy bar and I'd like to buy something, but the candy bar ran out of money about a third of the way through. So they've got just a desk. It's just a desk, and Ben Kingsley's working there, and I'm like, why is Ben Kingsley working at this candy bar? And he's like, I asked myself the same question.
But he's overly positive. He's like, we might only have a desk, but imagine what we could have behind us. I'm Ben Kingsley. Yeah, look, this film's not good. I don't recommend it. Except for the fish scene.
Except for the fish
alien scene.
Which is just that look at the camera. Like it's a full Johnny Knoxville. I'm fish alien and I'm a jackass for being in this film. That's like
yeah, it just looks at the camera and just goes, I'm a fish alien. That's weird. It's nuts.
It looks like the roof seal. That's what it looks like. It's the roof seal.
It looks exactly like roof seal. Oh, man. It's terrible. It's so bad. What a film.
Yeah.
That leaves us with having to decide what year we do next.
Oh, yay. That's fun.
So
let me put on my little...
Oh, yeah, good. Do that.
Right.
I'm going to press the button in... Yeah, keep going. Good. Yeah, cool. So we're going from 1965 to 2020, all right? 1965 to 2020, here we go. Generate 1984. 1984. Have we done 1984?
Did 82. We haven't done 84. 84 is a terrific year for films because, know how I know that?
Is when you were born?
I was born that year. And then for my 30th birthday, I had a 1984 themed party.
You know what it does?
And everyone had to dress up.
As like an Orwellian character? Or
They'd dress up as a 1984 movie.
Yeah, well, you know what did come out, speaking of Orwellian, came out in 1984. 1984.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else.
No.
Animal Farm.
We've got one film in our 84 list, but you're going to have to listen to the next episode to find out what that is. And we're going to have to find some more films.
I can name them all off the top of my head. Probably not the bad ones.
No, this is just a bad one I've got in there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's Popcorn. Listen to us. Why?
Wait, what else have you been watching?
Recommendations. Is that what you want?
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, what do you recommend? What have you been watching?
I've been watching The Queen's Gambit.
Oh, we haven't gotten on that yet, but
it's good. I want to play chess. Chess.
Yeah, we're probably going to watch that next.
Yeah, it's good. Well made. Looks nice. Yeah, can't say a bad thing about it yet, but I'm only a few eps in.
I love, what's her name? Anna Taylor-Joy or something.
Yeah, something like that.
She's great in everything she's in. She was in Split, I think. And she was in this other film where like her and another girl plot to kill someone. She was in Emma, but I haven't seen Emma. I haven't seen Emma for ages.
Yeah, COVID does that. Lockdown.
Yeah. We watched His House. Have you seen that? It's on Netflix.
Whose house?
His House.
Yeah, that's good.
Say what? It's really good. I think it's really good. It's like a horror film. In fact, it's not like a horror film. It's a horror film where this refugee couple from Africa are resettling in not Australia, in the UK, in England, as asylum seekers. And they get put in this like commission housing, and it's this big empty house, and they're kind of surprised because it's like, you know, everyone, like all the white dudes that are running it are like, oh, this is bigger than my house, blah blah blah. But it's like straight up haunted.
Cool.
Straight up haunted, and it does some pretty good haunts. So I really recommend that. His House. It's on Netflix now.
Cool. I will check it out.
Yeah. And then that's Popcorn. So I was going to say listen to us. Listen to us now. And then keep listening to us until the episode's over. And if you are sick of not listening to us, listen to us some more by listening to some of the old episodes. And also watch them on YouTube. On podcast places, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Like, comment, subscribe, email us at thatispopcorn at no, it's not. It's hello at that'spopcorn.com. That's the one. I'm just curious to see if anyone will ever do that. No one's done it yet.
No one's done it yet. Still don't know what Christian Bale's beard looks like.
I've been waiting.
I've been waiting. I know I could Google it. And actually, I think I based it on already what I knew it looked like, but I'm interested in what you think it looked like.
Yes, please. Tell us not even tell us. Draw us. Draw us. Oh, draw us. Send us a drawing of us. Thank you.
Yep, I'd like that.
Yeah. That's Popcorn. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Goodbye. ha.